friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're here for book links. This is the video where I attempt to link all the books that I have read this month by linking the book that I read with the book that I read before it and the book that I read after it. At the end of the video, I'm going to try to link the last book that I read in the month with the first book that I read. And we're going to see if I'm successful. Some of these books that I read were similar, but I try not to cheat with book links. I don't link just books that are naturally similar. I am linking the books in the order that I've read them. So sometimes, because of how I move in my reading, the book that I just read is going to be very different from the book that I read after it. And so it's always a challenge to see if I can accomplish it. Let's see if I'm successful this month. This is a series that I used to do on my channel some time ago, and I'm reviving it. So stay tuned for book links. Let me know in the comments down below if you have been watching my channel since then. It's been a few years that I used to do book links. If you've been watching my videos since then, leave me a comment down below. Let me know that. And if this is your first time, then stay tuned because it's going to be a challenge. We're going to see if we can do it. I don't know yet if I can do it. We'll have to find out together. Stay tuned. So the first two books that I read in January were Persuasion by Jane Austen and The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. And those two books are linked because we have characters who reach back into earlier relationships to get help from an ex. In Persuasion, it is Anne's former fiance who gets her help with the girl that we think he is interested in marrying, and that's weird. But in Laura Dave's book, it is the main character who, when her husband goes missing, she asks her ex, who she was also engaged to use his connections as a lawyer to try to figure out what she should do next. So yeah, both of those two books are linked by that action. So Laura Dave's book and J.D. Salinger's Catcher in the Rye, both of those books have a main character leaving state and going to another state when there's some kind of trouble, and they go there looking for answers. So in Laura Dave's book, the main character's husband has disappeared, and she goes to another state trying to figure out where he went and maybe try to find him. And of course, in Catcher in the Rye, Holden Caulfield gets in trouble in school in Pennsylvania and goes to New York, running away from, the backlash when his parents figure out that he's been kicked out of school. Catcher in the Rye and The Yellow Wallpaper, both of those have a main character who's dealing with mental stress by writing directly to the reader. In Catcher in the Rye, the novel is written to the reader, and in The Yellow Wallpaper, same. The Yellow Wallpaper and The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, both of those are linked because they have a message about how people are impacted by their physical environment. So one's a novel showing someone's mental breakdown because of the wallpaper on the room. Well, that's not why, but her condition is exacerbated because of that. And of course, Marie Kondo talks about how you can declutter and leave room so you can feel like you're in a hotel when you're in your home because you're not always being attacked by your stuff. Things that reach out to you and say, fold me, wash me, move me, put me away. That kind of thing. I didn't figure out a link yet between Marie Kondo's book and Mrs. Palfrey at the Claremont, so if I figure that out, I'll insert something here later. I did think about a link between Mrs. Palfrey at the Claremont and The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Both of these books talk about decluttering in order to move to the next phase of your life. Mrs. Palfrey has to give away or get rid of some of her things in order to go live in this hotel. And Marie Kondo's book is all about getting rid of the things that don't suit this part of your life so you can surround yourself by the things that make you joyful. So yeah, those are the links between these two books. I couldn't think of it at the time, but I did think about it in time to edit this video. Mrs. Palfrey at the Claremont and Anne of Green Gables, both of those have to do with a main character who changes their residence after the loss of someone that they loved. So Anne of Green Gables is orphaned, and that's why she goes to live at Green Gables. And of course, Mrs. Palfrey goes to live at the Claremont after she's been widowed. And Her Secret War, same, because the main character in Her Secret War also has to change her residence when she loses family members. When her house is bombed in Ireland is when she loses her family, and then she moves to England because new family members reach out to her and say, you lost your family, come stay with us. Her Secret War and On a Night Like This both have main characters who leave the country and break up with a boyfriend, just in reverse order. So in Her Secret War, the main character breaks up with her boyfriend and then she leaves the country. And in On a Night Like This, the main character leaves the country and then she comes back and breaks up with her boyfriend. But that's not a spoiler. On a Night Like This and Shapeshifting, both of those books focus on how new relationships can transform us. In On a Night Like This, the main character is propelled to make some significant changes in her life, not because of a romance, but because of a friendship that develops with her and between her and some other people. And it's just like eye-opening for her. And of course, in Shapeshifting, we're focusing on women who become moms. And there's nobody like a child to change your life. Like, I know this firsthand these days. Shapeshifting and Within These Wicked Walls, both of these have a storyline of children being impacted by abusive parents. There's an actual story in Shapeshifting where we're reading about a girl whose mother was depressed and she emotionally abused her, and how she passes on that abuse to her own child, even though she doesn't necessarily plan to do so. And then the main character in Within These Wicked Walls, same. The main character was a victim of abusive parents as well. I don't want to get too much into that, but both her parents and her guardian are abusive in different ways. Within These Wicked Walls and Ethan Frome, both of those are very atmospheric stories, showing how the characters make decisions based on their physical environment. Ethan Frome and The Long Song, both of those books had adulterous relationships that were written so that the reader was cheering for the adultery, which I'm never usually cheering for adultery, but these stories were written in such a way that the existing or the initial relationship was just so bad that you were cheering for the adultery. Let's move on. So The Long Song and For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide, both of those books focused on the strength and resilience of Black women, because we see women in very difficult relationships and how they survived some of their compromises, but also how they emerge, not unscathed, never unscathed, but how they emerge and just continue to live. So For Colored Girls and On the Road, there have never been two books that have been so different, but they are both linked because we see the impact of what happens when we make other people our focus, when we give other people a lot, maybe too much power in our lives. It's a little bit about when we have heroes and we worship those heroes and we put them on pedestals. It's almost inevitable that they will disappoint us. So the disappointment is different in those two stories. In For Colored Girls, we see a lot of women being disappointed by men. And On the Road, men being disappointed by men, but also just disappointing relationships when we've given people too much power in our lives. And so yeah, the challenge now is to link On the Road with Persuasion. It's kind of a continuation of that same theme because we have main characters who have lost a parent and so are looking for a surrogate. So in On the Road, both characters, both the main character and his hero, both of them have lost relationships with their parents, and so they are kind of looking for that fulfillment in each other. And in Persuasion, we also have Anne, whose mother had died, and she gives a lot of power to this woman that she casts in this maternal role in her life. And yeah, a lot of the story wouldn't have happened that way if she didn't give that woman so much power. So yeah, those are the books that I read in January. That was Booklinks. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back next month, see if I can do better. This month, I wasn't able to think of a link between two of the books. It's a little bit of a fail, but it gives me a chance to improve for next time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Let's chat in the comments. I would love to know if you can think of links between some of the books that you've been reading. Let's chat about that. So let's chat on there. And until next time, happy reading. Bye. You were cheering for the adultery. Let's move on. It's going to be a 40-minute video.